How to apply Elliott wave theory to trading Bitcoin. We're going to cover the three major pros and the three major cons that actually applies to all markets and all timeframes that will give you an edge to see what's likely to occur before it occurs, so you know when to buy and when to sell. So with that said, let's dive straight in. What you're looking at right now on the left hand side is the theory of Elliott wave, and on the right hand side is the actual price action of Bitcoin, and we're going to correlate the two. But first, let's look at the pros and the cons. Well, the three real cons of Elliott wave theory is that it's not always present. So some people try and apply Elliott wave theory when the pattern's not clear. So we want to know that 60% of the time it's clear, 40% of the time it's not. The second thing is it can be difficult to learn, but I can promise you the hard work will pay off because everything in life is difficult before it's easy. And last but not least, it's not a standalone strategy. I wouldn't recommend using Elliott wave by itself. You want to combine other technical factors. The three major pros of Elliott wave theory is that we'll see repeatable patterns. Because there's rules and guidelines, because we're measuring crowd psychology, we can spot in advance what is very likely going to occur as a leading indicator. Second, once you know the basics and you have a grounding in Elliott wave theory, it's very practical, so it becomes much more objective and less emotional. And last but not least, it applies incredibly well in conjunction with Fibonacci price, Fibonacci time, and momentum. That will give you a much stronger edge. Now, with that said, now let's apply this thinking to Bitcoin. The key thing that you want to implant into your mind is fives and threes, and what stage of the market is when it comes to the fives and the threes. So the theory on the left-hand side, we have this five-way count, a wave one, a wave two, a wave three, a wave four, and a wave five. After a five-wave sequence, typically you'll get at least a three-wave correction. That's most common and most typical. What we see with Bitcoin right now is it seems that we've just made this wave three, and we can see that on the right-hand side with the live chart with Bitcoin, this wave three. And if you saw my last YouTube video on Bitcoin a few weeks ago, you would have seen we spotted this in advance based on price and pattern, and we're anticipating this correction, and it looks like the correction is now underway. So what typically occurs after a wave three? Well, it's a wave four. Wave four is a profit-taking wave. As a minimum, it literally takes three waves as a typical minimum. It can be some other types of pattern as well. But the key two things that we really want to be aware of when we're thinking about wave fours is the price. What is the typical minimum price of a wave four? And has Bitcoin hit that price yet? And what's the minimum time of a wave four? And has Bitcoin hit that yet? So let's just talk about that for a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this wave three, and most wave fours as a minimum retrace, as in pull back, 38.2%. Now we can see that Bitcoin has not hit that price yet. So for that reason, I would say Bitcoin is likely has not completed a wave four yet. We're going to be really, really aware of that. So what that indicates is that we're probably going to be sideways to down for a few more weeks. That's really, really important. Now, I'm very aware that we've got Bitcoin halving happening, and we are due for another 12 to 18 month bull run that's probably going to hit a six-figure Bitcoin, but the technicals have the fundamentals baked in, how the market is feeling about everything that we're looking at. The other factor that is really reliable that you want to really take seriously is the time. Now, I'm going to use it on the theory over here first. If we measure how long did it take for this five-wave move of a wave three to occur, and we project forward 38.2 to 62%, that's the typical time it takes for a wave four to correct. So we have a price target and a time target. That's what this is over here. I've literally just taken this point to this point and projected forward, as you can see at the top, 38.2 and 62% time retracements. This gives us two dates. We're talking about early, the week beginning the 20th of May. So around the 21st of May should be the typical minimum time, and the typical maximum is July 6th. So what that tells us or indicates to us very strongly is that if this is a wave three, Bitcoin should be sideways to down for a number of weeks until mid-May to early June going into July. So what I'm anticipating, because I'm short Bitcoin right now, we shorted this around here, and we're in nice profits right now. we've locked in some profits, but what I'm anticipating is that the market to continue sideways to down for a few more weeks. Now, what should we anticipate if that occurs and if we get a clean wave 4? Well, what we want to do, the big advantage of Elliott wave is we can anticipate in advance the end of a correction of a wave 4. Now, what I'm going to be looking for, if it occurs, is if we do get a clean wave B, wave C's typically break down to a 5-wave structure. So remember I was saying one of the major pros is that it's predictable patterns with rules and guidelines. Well, one of the rules is wave C's typically break down to a 5-wave structure. So, and wave A's can typically be a 3-wave or a 5-wave structure. So this could simply be a wave A. We might then end up making a wave B. And then what I would like to see is a 5-wave move to the downside for the end of a wave C of a wave 4. Now this is important because then we can pinpoint the end of a major correction similar to this correction down here of a wave 2 before we're going to see more than likely this high getting exceeded and Bitcoin going over to hit 6 figures and beyond all-time new highs. So we found today very valuable. Let me know in the comments below what other coins you want me to look at. And if you also want to take your trading to the next level, I've created $1 million trading system with a free masterclass that explains it all, where I do technical analysis for you on a weekly basis and give you trade signals for Bitcoin and 4 other key assets. If you like the sound of that, check it out on the link below. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.